Anyway, let's get into it. If this track continues like this, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Oh my gosh. It's like NF is as dark as I want to go with any rapper. Is your rapper as dark as this? Oh no. Oh my gosh. That reminds me of only. It's like, does anybody feel like me? It's like trying to. Oh boy. That's really interesting, actually, because on the search in the track only, he's like, "Does anybody feel like me?" And he wants to know that he's not the only one. But then it sounds like he's discovered that there's actually more like him, which is the whole purpose of like the balloons in Lost at the end of the video when Hobson and NF found all the balloons on the top of the mountain. Can you see the cinema right now? Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh my goodness. It's like when he says this, as I'm listening to this, I'm thinking about the album name. And when he says that, if you're like me who likes to stay in the rut, it's like the album is making so much more sense because he's literally saying that he's still lost. But the line where he says that it's hard to like face the truth or something along those lines, it's like, is it really true though? Do you have to stay in a rut in order to like be yourself? And yes, I understand the conflict that NF has been facing over the years. He's talked about it a lot in Outro, where it's like, if I leave and I get better, will I still be the same? Will my music be the same? Will it be it has been? And if I stay in this, will I ever be better? It's like the constant conflict that he's been experiencing over the years. Um, we've come to understand, but I'm like, I don't feel like you literally have to be in this place to be better. I mean, I feel like you can be out of this, looking at this, and still be able to relate to your emotion. It's like encountering a traumatic experience in your past. I'm not talking about NF here, I'm going off on a tangent, but it's like talking about a traumatic experience in your past that has affected you, but you can heal from it and no longer be totally affected by that and still remain the person with forgiveness in your heart and with a change of mind in terms of like how you handle hurt and other things that comes with it. Because usually whenever traumatic experiences happen, it's often like a ripple effect where it also translates into other aspects of your life. So you don't necessarily think that one thing is going to cause you to change just in that area. It's also going to affect other parts of your life, which I guess is a struggle here, which has been with NF for a while. We know this, but the fact that Lost is the title, this song makes the album title so much more empowering. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that was a chorus? I don't want to hear that again. I don't want to hear that again. Oh my gosh. that line when he says, let me go back to it. I forgot what he said. You feel the best when your life is hectic. He says that on a track where it feels like, um, he says this on Why. I feel more together when I am a mess. Is that why? That line that he sang in this reminds me of that. I feel more together when I am a mess. What song is that from? You might be destined to stay defective, so join the club. It ain't that hard to get in. It's hard to leave though. Look at the guest list. I bet that your name is on it. Don't believe me? Check it. See dead ends in life. We come to tend to raise some questions. Suggestion. Know that your feelings might give wrong directions. Invest in with the feeling of failure. Let it take over your body. It makes you question the life that you have. Situations you might even join become nothing but dated. Old and forgotten. But what would you say if I told you that there was some hope we can make it? I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking it too. Could you really improve and be something we're saving? See, I can pretend like I have all the answers, but none of us do. It's the reason we battle. Convincing yourself that you don't really matters. Like dating a cancer and letting it travel that. All right, I want to address something that here when he says that we're pretending like we don't have the answers. I wanted to make a video about NF and his mental state and how I perceive a lot of the things that he thinks about. I'm a Christian, right? And NF, to me, I'm trying to say this as nicely as possible, but NF to me, I feel like doesn't understand as a Christian what it means to suffer a spiritual battle, not just the things that he's experiencing. I understand, first of all, I understand that not everyone watching this might be a Christian in the first place, but there is a scripture in Corinthians, I believe. I will put it up on the screen that tells us we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. So we understand that as Christians, we live a dual life in terms of the natural and the spiritual. And we know that everything that we encounter in the natural stems from a spiritual place. That's to say, every traumatic experiences and emotions that aren't necessarily off God or contradicts what God's will is for a person's life, then we can tell or assess that that thing or that spiritual wickedness or power is stemming from a spiritual place that is not of God. And to be able to handle that, you have to deal with that with spiritual measures. I don't know if anyone's understanding what I'm saying right now. Basically, I feel like NF has been battling for so long with the same issues because he's trying to diagnose a spiritual problem with natural means and trying to find ways in his own carnal and fleshly nature to find solutions for spiritual problems. And it's going to be an endless loop of trying to deal with this or battle with this if you're not attacking the root of the problem or fully understanding what the problem actually stems from. It's not about people. It's not about your what your stepdad did. It's not about what your mom did. You're looking at the face value of what's happening right here. It's like looking at a house and just saying that it's a firm foundation when actually the cement, the bricks, and everything under the house has been rocky and it's been unstable and it's built on I guess crumbled spiritual foundations. So if you're building your life on top of this, eventually you're gonna understand. And which is I believe is the reason for struggle, is that the spiritual foundation is rocky and you're gonna continue to look at something that's gonna be dysfunctional, that's gonna encounter a lot of problems because you're trying to solve a spiritual problem with natural means. Music can be your idol as much as it is for your therapy because you're looking to music as your source of living. You're enforcing the idea that, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but you're looking at your fans coming to you and saying that your music is the reason that you're alive, which is fantastic that your music is able to do something so powerful and so phenomenal for a person's life. But I don't feel like that should be idolized in a way where you take that on yourself, because you can't save a person's life. A person's life is not in your hands. And whether you feel the pressure of that or not, everything that you encounter, everything that's happening, has to be viewed as a Christian through the perspective of biblical principles and through the perspective of wanting to see everything that's happening like how Jesus sees it as a Christian. So, if that's not happening, that would cause a Christian that's listening to this to judge NF in a way where they feel like he's too depressed, or he's not like talking about things that are actually giving solutions to a problem spiritually. Which is why I find that NF encounters a lot of conflict with his music, because a lot of Christians that do listen, especially the Christian audience, might realize that this is not necessarily helping. It's good for empathizing, but it's not good for solutions. That's my rant. Let's get back to the song. That's right. Yes, it is. Right. Right. He's speaking truth right now. So it's the lows in life that makes you cherish the highs. That's Bible. That's Bible right there. I don't feel comfortable singing that chorus. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not hating on the song or anything, guys. It's right. Why would I want to be singing about my car going off the highway or a plane crashing? Uh, mm, I don't want to speak that into existence, or especially sing it. Alright, that is Just Like You by NF. I find that song very comforting to know that NF has found or come to realization that he's not the only one going through a lot of the things that he's experiencing, and that there are other peoples like him, because previously he was questioning whether or not he was the only one that's going through this. So the fact that he has now come to the understanding that he isn't the only one, then I find that to be a win, because it's a step from the last album, which I feel like is an evolution, or that's able to help him on the journey. Next song on the album is Story.